In this video, I'm going to prove their divisibility rule for 15. The first thing you need to note is that 15 is 5 times 3, and both 5 and 3 are relatively prime. That is, they have nothing in common. It's not whether or not 5 is prime and 3 is prime. 14 is not prime. And 15 is not prime. Other than 1, 2, 7, and 14 go into 14, and 15 has 3, 5, and 15. But notice the two numbers together, they have no, other than 1, which I didn't even list, other than 1, they have nothing in common. These are called relatively prime. They're relatively prime, just like 5 and 3 are. It's not because 5 and 3 are both prime numbers. Although, if you have two prime numbers and they're different, then they will be relatively prime. Now, the importance of this is the only way 5 and 3 can go into a number is if the number, when you factor it, it has 5 and 3 as factors, and we can multiply the other factors together. And maybe it's 5 times 3 times 2 times 7. I'll just call that 14. Okay, the 5's reduced to 1, the 3's reduced to 1. 1 times m is m. That means 5 times 3 went into this. It has to have the numerator. It has to have a factor of 5 and 3. So, 15 goes into k. If and only if 5 divides k and 3 divides k. For this, k, the rule for 5 being divisible by 5, k must end in a 0 or a 5. To be divisible by 3, the sum of their digits must be a multiple of 3. We need both of these. The divisibility rule for 15 is the last digit better end in a 0 or 5, and the sum of the digits must be a multiple of 3. And just to convince you, the multiples of 15 is 0, 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, 105. Every one of these numbers on the 15 table ends in a 0 or a 5. It just doesn't have every number that ends in a 0 and a 5. It doesn't have 5, or it doesn't have 20, it doesn't have 25, it doesn't have 35 or 40 or 50 or 55 or 65 or 70. Doesn't have 80, it doesn't have 85, doesn't have 95, it doesn't have 100. But nonetheless, it only has numbers that ends either in a 0 or a 5. And it also has to be a multiple of 3. It also has to be a multiple of 3. And all of these numbers are a multiple of 3. All of those numbers are a multiple of 3. But then not all the multiples is 3. We skip 3 and 6 and 9 and 12. We have 15, but we don't have 18 and 21 and 24 and 27. We have 30. We don't have 33 or 36 or 39 or 42. We have 45. But nonetheless, these are the numbers that these are all the numbers. Well, the list goes on. These are all the numbers that are multiples of 5 and multiples of 3. Every one of these numbers, 15 is a multiple of 5 and it's a multiple of 3. 75 is a multiple of 5 and it's a multiple of 3. If you love videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends and parents and aunts and uncles. And most of all, watch and learn.